Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, where today, Minority Annihilator, he does apologise for that nickname by the way, apparently somebody challenged him to a bet that he wouldn't make that his name. I don't know what he won for the bet, but I hope it was worth it. He's going to be playing a tier 6 random battle here on the Lakeville map, in the Object 244. I have to admit, I was wondering what the hell is the Object 244, because it just looks like an IS with an 85mm gun. And that's exactly what it is. It's a premium IS at tier 6 rather than tier 7. The benefits are that you get an IS at tier 6 with the IS's armour, but it only has an 85mm gun. The view range is absolutely terrible, and the mobility is kind of bad. It's got a weak engine. The ground resistance is bad, the power to weight ratio is bad. The top speed is okay, but it just takes a while to get there. It's not the most mobile of heavy tanks, particularly if you're driving over rough terrain or you're trying to climb any kind of gradient. On flat ground, however, this thing, as you can see, can shift at a pretty respectable pace. Now pay attention to the 25 TP up ahead. His name is Shoot Him Instead Please, which I thought was pretty good. He's getting a brownie point just for the name alone. He's rushing forward into the town here on Lakeville. He's not alone. There's another medium tank up there ahead of him, the Panzer III-4, but I was not expecting great things of young Shoot Him Instead Please in the 25 TP, because right at the start of this battle, he basically gets hammered. I was totally expecting him to be the team's first casualty. Fortunately, I couldn't have been more wrong. Meanwhile, Minority Annihilator, moving up in the Object 244. And he's looking through the gap on the side of this building to see if there's anybody there he can shoot at. And initially, at least, there isn't. But suddenly, then there is. Now, we did get spotted, so the M42 over there knows he's here, but he thinks he's moved back far enough to avoid getting shot at. Newsflash, he's wrong. The Panzer III-4 with him, his spaced armour, saves him from taking any initial damage from the T-34-85M over there, who takes a hit from Minority Annihilator, and the return shot is eaten up by his tracks. Artillery is starting to get interested, which is bad. There is also an AT-8 moving up on his flank. Now this is a kind of a good news, bad news situation. He pulls back behind the building because he doesn't want to have to fight the AT-8 and the T-34-85M at the same time. The good news is the AT-8 is a piece of shit. The bad news is it's a very well armoured piece of shit. So rather than continuing to waste gold ammo on the front of that thing, he pulls back so he can just engage and destroy the T-34-85M instead, which honestly seems like the much better use of his time. There are a lot of friendly tanks in the town, aren't there? And if there are a lot of friendly tanks in the town, then it follows that there are not a lot of friendly tanks anywhere else. And sure enough, a quick look at the map, which is exactly what Minority Annihilator has done, reveals that the base is about to be overrun via the valley on the western map border by at least 6 enemy tanks, and the only things defending are a Churchill, 1 tank destroyer, and artillery. Actually, no, scratch that. The tank destroyer's dead. And so is the artillery. That just leaves the Churchill against a bare minimum of 6 enemies. So reasoning that if all of the enemy are coming through in that direction, then all of the teammates that he left in the town should easily be able to handle whatever's left on the enemy team, Minority Annihilator makes a beeline for the base, not able to get there in time to save the Churchill, however. And at the same time, because of course they are, the teammates that he left holding the town are somehow managing to completely waste their huge numerical advantage over there, and are getting picked off and slaughtered by an inferior number of enemies. Now, Minority isn't over here completely alone. Well, he is over here completely alone, but he's spotting targets, like that T1 Heavy for example, for a pair of tank destroyers, an IKV-65 that he's platooned up with, and a random teammate in an M10 RBFM. 2/3 of his team are dead at this point, and they've only managed to kill 1/3 of the enemy team. The only good news at this point is that as long as he's here and alive, the enemy team are not going to be able to win by capping. He kills the T1 Heavy, starts moving up on the VK. The VK, very sensibly, moves up to take cover behind the wreck of the tank in front of him, but at this kind of range, the Object 244's 85mm gun is relatively easily able to snipe weak spots like the commander's hatch. Next, KV-1, and they're both trying to snipe each other's vision ports and commander's hatches. Minority kind of lucky that he didn't get his commander taken out when his vision port was hit, but he's able to follow up and get the second shot off faster than the KV-1 can reload, and takes him out too. The only friendly tank left in the town is the TOG-2, and as we all know, the TOG is a herd animal and doesn't do very well by itself, and now the TOG is dead too. That just leaves Minority Annihilator, the platoon mate in the IKV-2, and shoot him instead please in the 25 TP, who despite losing all of that health right at the start of the battle, is the only other surviving member of the team. 3 of them against 7. Now those are not good odds, but at least they haven't gotten any worse, because a minute ago there was 4 of them against 9, which... math is hard, but I'm pretty sure that's just as bad. His 2 surviving teammates are clearly capable of thinking and breathing at the same time, because they've all come to the same conclusion. They need to back each other up. So the 25 TP is being instructed to get onto the hill at the back of the cap circle. And he is doing exactly that. Meanwhile, the IKV has spotted and is shooting at a T-150 coming down the road overlooking the lake. But he's spotted in return, and that was a big old hit from artillery. And he ducks in behind the building there in order to avoid getting hit by the T-150, but something is putting shots into him, which almost certainly means that while he was spotted, enemy vehicles coming from the town are shooting into his flanks. And they're doing it, at least this far, without being spotted in return. And then, sure enough, an M10 RBFM. Minority tries to save his platoon mate, but he just isn't fast enough. The first shot misses, and even if the first shot had hit, the IKV was still going to die. There's now 2 of them. For a fraction of a second, 2 of them against 7 enemies. He kills the M10. There's definitely something else on the flank there. Yep, there it is. The IKV was just taking too many hits too quickly for the M10 to be alone. Here comes the Super Chaffee, and he saw the 25 TP when that guy popped out to take a sneaky shot at the T-150, which means the 25 TP is now a one-shot kill even for the Super Chaffee. So he's going to need to be even more careful than he has been thus far. That does not mean that the 25 TP is just going to hide behind the rocks and wait to be the last one left alive, because that guy's here to fight, and as long as nobody's looking directly at him, he is popping out and continuing to take shots. Like right there, where he takes advantage of the T-150 trying to kill Minority, and right there where he does it again, allowing Minority to kill the T-150. The Super Chaffee's still out there, of course, and the AT-2 has just been spotted in the valley, and the ARL V-39 has joined the party as well. Now, none of these are good tank destroyers, but the V-39, who's getting shot at by the 25 TP, and the AT-2 are bad for different reasons. The V-39 is a terrible machine that can have a good gun, and the AT-2 definitely doesn't get a good gun, but it does have very, very good armour. Actually, speaking of the AT-2, he's gone undetected, and it's a slow machine, which means that he's probably about ready to start lumbering into view around the back end of the base. And sure enough, there he is. Now, even at this range, the Object 244's 85mm gun will have problems defeating the frontal armour of an AT-2, unless the AT-2 exposes his underbelly, which he just did, and then when he's no longer exposing his underbelly, and the 25 TP is putting shots into his flank, even a Russian tank isn't going to be able to miss the commander's hatch weak spot at that kind of range. Oh look, there's somebody in the base. That will be the Super Chaffee. He's desperately trying to get in there and finish off the 25 TP. And fast though the Super Chaffee may be, Minority Annihilator has lots of little 85mm friends that are way faster than him. For the moment, that just leaves the ARL V-39, and while it is a terrible tank destroyer, it might have a very good 90mm gun. Let's not put that theory to the test, especially when we can just kill it from here. And as quickly as that, when it was 4 versus 9, and then very quickly became 3 versus 7, it's now 2 versus 2, and just how confident do you think that Archer's feeling? Well, he did just manage to kill the 25 TP, so... I mean, what a teammate that guy was. We could all just press F to pay respects for the 25 TP, because the Archer's about to meet its maker. And that just leaves the Griller, and we're reasonably confident that we know where he is. I mean, he hasn't been spotted this entire map, which isn't unusual, he's artillery, and theoretically, at least according to the minimap, he could be anywhere, but actually, judging by the shell tracer, I think we've all got a pretty good idea of where he's going to be. And it's not a particularly immobile artillery, but it's definitely no FV304 or M44 either. It's not a speed demon. And the fact that Minority just got spotted there gives us some indication of exactly where he is likely to be. I mean, Sixth Sense works both ways. If Sixth Sense goes off, even if you haven't seen the enemy, you know that he has line of sight to you, so that narrows down the options as to where exactly they could be hiding. And I got to be honest, I thought he was behind the farmhouse in the corner. It seemed like the logical spot. And I wasn't convinced that Minority had got to within the required 50 metres to proximity detect anybody on the far side of the farmhouse. So I'm sitting here yelling at the screen, no, what are you doing? Turn around, go back. He's behind the farmhouse in the corner. He's not behind the farmhouse in the corner. He's right there. Minority has the HE loaded, which of course is never enough to one-shot the artillery. And I thought he was going to go for the ram kill here, and then they both stop. What are you doing? No, that's it. Yeah, when it's just you and artillery left, you always ram them for maximum style points. Those are the rules. Yeah, don't look at me like that. I don't make the rules. I just obey them. Unsurprisingly, that Top Gun high caliber steel wall pools medal result, yes, 11 kills, yes really, was also an ace tanker battle. Yes, 11 victims, upon which he farmed nearly 3,000 damage. That's more than 2/3 of the enemy team, all going to that great scrapyard in the sky at the hands of Minority Annihilator's Object 244. And because this thing's only tier 6, and a tier 6 premium, despite the fact that he spent around about 60,000 credits on gold ammo, mostly during the midpoint of this battle when his back was right up against the wall, he still didn't lose money, turning in a profit of nearly 100,000 credits. And it would have still been a profit even on a standard account, although it would have only been a profit on a standard account thanks to his personal reserves and personal missions payout bonuses. Either way, you don't often see an 11 kill result, and I think he really needs to go and have himself a lie down and give his back a rest. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed it, because that's it for today. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.